John, why don't you give your beginning meetings spiel?
Rules of the road.
Also, just want to let you know that Julie Menin's office, I believe that's what one of the participants says on there, has joined the meeting. So I just want to let you know that. But yeah, rules of the road first. Good evening. If this is your first time joining us virtually, you will notice that you're all currently muted and remain muted throughout the meeting, excluding the co-chairs and presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, as we move through the agenda, the co-chairs will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can go participants. You can speak by going to the react icon on your device and pressing the raise hand button there. Not the wave or thumbs up; those will disappear. Press the raise hand button once. If you press it a second time, it will go back down. If you're calling your phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the co-chairs call on you. The chat is available for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask co-chairs for questions, as they will not see the chat. If you are using an older version of Zoom, go to the person section where you will find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen, as we may not be able to see you, and chat me with technical support.
Thanks, John.
All right, Scott Baker, NYC, who are you with, please?
He's muted.
Yeah, John, can you unmute Scott Baker? So I'd like to know, Scott, who are you with?
I'm actually in CB6. I'm not in the council or community board, just a citizen.
Oh, great.
Okay, I was just because you had
nice to have you, Scott.
Yeah, no, just because you had NYC, I thought maybe you were with some
well, that's just so people know I'm in New York City because I sometimes all their Zoom calls that are national.
Okay. Well, looks like we have a couple of members of the public, but no community board members.
Other than
That's
all right. Well, the public is interested, which is good to know.
Yeah. All right. So what I thought I would start with is just this task force had put together a list of resolutions which were submitted to the mayor's charter change commission. So I thought I would remind everybody what we did. Oh, one thing I do want to say is that there were two competing charter change commissions, the mayor's and the city council. And a law was passed by the legislature to allow them to both appear on the ballot. Prior to the law, you could only, the mayor's charter change commission had priority over the city council, but even if the governor signs this, and I did ask her about it, and she frankly had said she has several hundred bills and wasn't familiar with this. According to Liz Kruger, this would not take effect for this election. So the only thing we have to deal with is the city charter, the mayor's city charter commission, right? And I'm sorry, I'm Sherry Weiner. I'm co-chair. My co-chair is Ed.
Yeah, can I welcome everybody to the July 15th Voting Reform Charter Revision Task Force meeting? I guess we've started. I'm Ed Hartzog, the co-chair. Sherry Weiner, my other co-chair, has been speaking. Welcome the public. We have a small group, so Gilbert and Spencer, if I may, and Jerron and Scott and Malay, apologies if I mispronounce your name, from Julie Menin's office. So nice to have everyone here, and John Kraus, of course, from our office.
All right, so the community board passed 5 resolutions which were submitted to the mayor's charter change commission. The first one dealt with that ballot measures should be objective and factual and accurate. The second one we came up with was that we wanted preservation of historic districts. We didn't want them taken for housing. The third one is that community board decisions should not merely be advisory. As you may or may not know, community board the recommendations are just advisory. They do not have the force of law. The fourth one was that we thought it would be very helpful if each community board had its own urban planner, and that was another recommendation. The fifth one was that as it stands now, based on the last election, community board members have term limits, and we recommended that that be eliminated. And then the community, now the Mayor's Commission has come up with what we think would be their recommendations to go on the ballot. It's still preliminary, but so far this is all we have. Ed, do you have a list of all those, or you just want to discuss the
the ones that are up, the five that they came up with?
Yeah, do you have those, or do you want?
I do. Bear with me for 1 second, everyone. Yes, there was a as you may know, the Mayor's Commission did put out a set of recommendations. It was, and forgive me as I'm scrolling to the top, I was at another portion of it. It's 71 pages. It was just put out about 2 weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago today. These are the amendments. I loaded up into the chat. I'll put it in the chat with John. The first one of the group was a proposal called Fast Track for Affordable Housing, and that takes up, I would say, about 40 pages. We won't take up the whole meeting here to go through all those pages, but the point is, when I put the link in there, it's about 40 pages of changes to the process. As we've talked about it, if I don't want to over summarize, but Sherry and I were talking beforehand, it ostensibly fast tracks a lot of housing development in the city. Sherry, you're more familiar with some of this real estate issues with the smaller ULURPs, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it attempts to put into buckets, if you will, for lack of a better term, smaller and larger ULURP applications. Some of the small ones, they want to fast track to get more building going. Is that a fair assessment, Sherry?
Yeah, they expedited that. Yeah.
The other proposal, Sherry and I were talking about this before the meeting. Something that came out, it's about 3 pages in here. It's called a Land Use Appeals Board. It is new. We do not have a resolution on that. We can talk about it. It's about 3 pages long in the entire group of recommendations, but ostensibly it is a 3-person, or is it 3 or 5-person
Three.
Yeah, 3-person appeals board that can override decisions that they don't like from the city council and city planning. So there's something a little, for lack of a better word, there's something about that that's a little concerning, I think. The other issues that we talked about, well, there's one regarding the city map. We haven't really talked about that too much. It's not very long. The next issues were even year elections, and a topic that we took up, and we have a resolution on that one as well. And the other one was something we talked about last month, which is open primaries. And it looks like what they have settled on is open primaries with the top 2, which seems to be more like the California jungle primary, if people are familiar with that. Let me load up the recommendations in the chat, John, so people can.
Yeah, that one, Ed, that open primary is not sure yet, that they can't decide. They wanted to think a little bit more about it. So
Yeah, and again, those of you on the public, you hear us when you come to the full board. Sherry and I have been talking about this for many months now, and you can see it. It's playing out, I think, as we've talked about. Is it sort of a moving target? Obviously, it's not, what it is that we will vote on in November is not necessarily word for word what we see now. Like Sherry said, with the open primaries, they're still working on that. Yes, Spencer, please. I see you raise your hand, but we do have the raise hand function in the what is that, John? In the reaction, right? It's the reaction.
Yeah,
Oh,
he got it. Yeah.
nicely done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No.
Appreciate it. I wanted to ask actually whether, like, I'm a little bit behind on this. Thanks to you all for, communicating with the public and helping us all learn about what's going on in, city politics. Would this take over the ranked choice voting for each of the primaries in addition to what is the open primaries, or is it different?
Two completely different things.
Thank you.
The ranked choice voting is just how we vote in primaries. This would change the city's constitution is known as the city charter. These are amendments to the city charter. And once they're approved by the Charter Change Commission, then they're put on the ballot. And then in November, everybody would have a chance to vote yes or no if you want this added to the city charter. So nothing at all to do with ranked choice voting. The feeling on ranked choice voting is it's only been used in 2 elections, and they don't feel that it's had enough of a run to make a decision one way or another. So that's here to stay.
So then what is the jungle primary in reference to, or what is it specifically, is that being used for?
Oh,
Do
I
you-
just use that as a term. Yeah, as people in California use that, it's a jungle primary, not unlike here in California is almost a uniparty state. I mean, it used to be known as a Republican with President Reagan, but now it's mostly Democratic. So folks out there call it a jungle primary because what usually happens is that when you have 10, 15, or however many candidates running, the top 2 win. And what ends up happening is that out there, most times it's 2 Democrats.
Yeah.
So they kind of call it a jungle primary because it's, that.
And-
I don't know
That
how
makes
they came
complete
up with
sense.
the term. I have no idea how they came up with that term.
Spencer, in New York, we have what is known as closed primaries. You have to be a member of either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party to vote in the primary. That's why you'll see that Mayor Adams was not a candidate in the primaries because he was running as an independent. Cuomo was running in the Democratic primary, but he has another party that's now endorsed him, so he's also going to be running as an independent. So what the conversation is, do we want to open the primaries and not really have primaries and everybody would vote? So that's
Gotcha entirely. Okay, that makes way more sense.
But that makes, at this point, they haven't decided if they're asking. Common Cause, we've had Common Cause come to speak to us, and her testimony was that we haven't really thought about it enough. We have 4 more years before the election, and it was her recommendation that they not ask people to vote on it because nobody's been educated about it. So not
Makes
that
sense.
they'll take her opinion, but I think it's a good one that just leave it alone for the time being until we, think of all the ramifications. All right, Gilbert, what's your question? John, can you unmute Gilbert? Go ahead.
My question is about affordable housing. I think that affordable housing is not really what we think as affordable. It's more affordable housing for the middle class. Nothing happens with poor people. Nothing happens with lower middle class. And it's just the people making $150,000 to $200,000 that's affordable for them. That's all the checking that I've done personally, where I go into places where affordable housing, a baby apartment, a studio is $3,500.
Yeah, but this
Affordable.
is not the forum to talk about that. That's more of a political topic which you'd have to bring up to your elected officials. We're not talking about affordable housing today. It's not part of the city charter, so your points are well taken, but there's nothing, we have to add about it. You have to talk to when you candidates start running, ask them what they mean by it and what the incomes would have to be. But it's not something we're going to talk about. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any comments on what's being proposed? Then one of the resolutions that we had is that we want to make sure that this community board members and the borough president have an involvement in the development process, because community board members represent the community. And if we're eliminated, you won't have that kind of input. So that's the main thing that we're concerned about, that the community board and the borough president, who the elected officials, because then it goes to the planning commission, and those are just people who are appointed by the mayor. They don't represent the community. So that's what we want to keep in the ULURP process. I thought their suggestion that they do an expedited ULURP was good, because some developments are so minor that there's no reason that they would have to go through the whole process and the expense of going through a ULURP process. So I thought that was a good suggestion, that they're doing. And like an example, I wrote down, like if you were raising a street or installing solar panels, as the law is now, you'd have to go through this whole process with all the different bodies approving it. And it's being recommended that this be allowed to be expedited. So that was one thing that I was supportive of.
Yeah, Sherry, if I could, we have a resolution on that. We're against that, if I remember correctly. We're already taking a position on that.
On what? On expediting?
On the expediting, didn't we take a position on that?
No, we just said we want to make sure that the community board and the borough president be in that the review process, that the review time for the borough president and the community board not be reduced. That's what we said. Just look. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'd be interested to know what the public thinks about this land use appeals board. Like I said, this is something that's brand new. This is something that was not out there before. From what we can read, again, I put the link in the chat. I can share my screen if you want. Let me see if I can figure out if I have it pulled up. I do. Bear with me for 1 second. Because it basically says that any decision by the city council can be overridden flat out by the borough president, the mayor, and the city council speaker. That's it. Those three. They decide. If the project includes 2 boroughs, it would be the 2 borough presidents. But if it's just in Manhattan or just Brooklyn or Staten Island, it's just the 3 of them. They can override the city council on their own. One person's humble opinion. That's a little chilling.
Member, what they're trying, an informal rule now called member preference,
Deference.
where deference, where a community, if there's a project in a particular city council district, that city council member can vote yay or nay on a project, and that will either kill it or make it go forward. And that's what they're trying to eliminate. Let's see what Jaren has to say. Jaren, John, go ahead. Jaren.
Yeah, you had it right, the Duran. Maybe I'm like misunderstanding the new appeals board, but I thought that it was removing the mayor's ability to veto land use actions by the city council, and in its place, the appeals board replaces that. So rather than having the mayor being able to just veto any of the actions by the city council, that veto would have to be replaced by a 2 to 3 vote between the city council speaker, the borough president, and the mayor. Can you clear that up for me? I want to understand better.
I'm not sure if that's the case. I don't know if that's made that change. Like I said, this just came out, so that sounds very reasonable. But again, this is the mayor's commission. So it's hard to believe that the mayor would voluntarily, given the history, as Sherry so eloquently pointed out, of the tension between the city council and the mayor with respect to power, that it seems a little surprising that the mayor would voluntarily give up his veto power to the speaker and the borough president. But if that's the case, if that's how it's read, that does give it an entirely different light.
My notes say that it overrides the decision of the council. It never said anything about the mayor. The mayor still could.
Well, the mayor's on the panel.
I think
the mayor's on the panel.
I'm asking this because, like, when in the text of the document that I'm reading, it says that the commission proposed an amendment to eliminate the mayor's veto power and ULURP, and then it replaces it with the appeals board.
I'm just reading the actual language.
Okay.
From the recommendations, and I'm trying to share my screen, but for some reason I'm having difficulty with it.
You should be able to share your screen, and I made it enabled.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that again. Yeah, something, I don't know.
Sharing screen is on.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't. I've done it
before. Do you want me to share my screen for it?
Yeah, I've done it before, so it doesn't matter. The point is, it's a 3-page, so people know. We have the link in the chat. If you want to see it, you can go to it. It's on page. I can tell you exactly the page because I have it pulled up. It's on page 37 of 71 in the document, entitled the recommendations, and it states that notwithstanding subdivision E of the section, meaning 179D of the city charter, actions of the council pursuant to this section are subject to review by the Land Use Appeals Board as set forth in section 1, and it shall be filed with the council with such board prior to the expiration of the time for the council, et cetera, et cetera. It's basically 5-day window. The mayor shall have the right, according to this, to file a written disapproval of any approval deemed to have occurred pursuant to subdivision C as a result of a failure of the council to act on or to act by the required vote, except where the land included is located in a single borough other than urban renewal plans. So a lot of back and forth. I won't read it because it's confusing to read if you're not looking at it. But again, as I said, it strikes me as a little concerning that they've created. Oh, thank you, John. They've created this land use appeals board. And Jerome, your point seems reasonable, but I'm just not sure if that's how it's going to be interpreted. I don't know if anybody in the public has any thoughts on it. Yeah. Sharon, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I see where you're saying that. So from the looks of it, this land use appeals board would have the right to override any decision by the city
Council,
council, as
right.
long as it's within,
So,
unless it's like just affecting a single borough.
so it seems like what it would do is override member deference if the council, again, because it's not written in the charter. It is just an unwritten rule, which, by the way, was overridden in our own community district with our former member, Ben Kalos. Members will remember the blood center was not in Keith Powers' district, but it was in Ben Kalos's district. He opposed the plan. His quote unquote member deference was overridden. Not done very often in the last 20 plus years, but it can be done. Just pointing it out.
But so this would, in other words, like you could see it as like if the decision only affects Manhattan or like any other borough, then they wouldn't have veto power over
It
the
would.
city council decisions, right?
They would. Absolutely. Absolutely. It has ultimate veto power over any decision, as I read it, over any decision that the mayor, this appeals board doesn't like. So as I said, if the member isn't in sync with the borough president, and the borough president has talked to the mayor and the developer, and they are on board, but the city council member puts up squawks about it, and the council decides to defer to their colleague, the borough president and the mayor and the city council speaker can get together, it appears, in a little group three-way chat and decide that this was a bad decision, and we decide to override it. From what I read, that seems to be what's out there. I don't know what the language will be in November, but this seems to be the proposed language. And it's only 3 short pages. It's only, it's very short, very direct. So again, not sure. Thanks, John, for scrolling through for folks. As you'll see, it's very short. So I don't know if that's good or bad either, by the way. I make no comment one way or the other, whether it's good or bad because it's long or short. But just noting that it's quite short. There it is. That's it. Yes, Spencer, please.
Good morning again. Sorry about that. The follow-up to this is actually, I now know where it was Jerome was bringing up the the elimination of the mayor's veto power. I'm asking right now, actually, how the two of the documents that are in the link in the chat relate to each other: the Charter Revision Commission's interim report and the proposed amendment specifically. Given the fact that if you go to page 11, however, on the interim report, you get to the first line under question 3. In the third ballot question, the commission proposes an amendment to eliminate the mayor's veto power in the ULURP. I understand if I'm mixing up commissions, but the Land Use Appeals Board might be fundamentally different in that case. Just it's now a matter of, does the board look fondly upon or not fondly upon, or was that to be decided later today or in the future with regards to the removing of the deference? All 3 of these questions simultaneously. Sorry about that. I guess the first question would be, is the Charter Revision Commission interim report meant for the public consumption, or is it binding, or is the language within it meant to be binding? And then does that relate to the Land Use Appeals Board?
Well, I don't think anything is necessarily binding on anybody per se. I think it's recommendations. What would be binding would be the language that they actually put on the ballot for us in November. That would be the binding language for the charter. Those would be the actual verbatim amendments. These are, again, as we've talked about, this is just, again, it's a little squishy. It's not the final. It's a little bit of a moving target. So this, as we said, this is a new wrinkle. We didn't have this before. As Sherry pointed out, we had the other part where they were trying to, speed things up, as Sherry noted, that, minimizing the community board input or time that it has to review these things. This seems to be a new thing that the mayor's commission came up with. And it's different from, as Sherry pointed out, the city council commission, which would seem to be the one that wants to take away the mayor's ability to veto their decisions. That would be the one. Right, Sherry? I mean, and we don't know, right? That seems where that is. I mean, we will tell you, it's confusing, even to us. They're so competing. It would be nice if they worked together, but they seem to be at loggerheads.
Well, it's
Like-
a power play. It's a power play between the two of them, between the mayor and the city council. So,
Right. That's really it.
yeah, that's really where we stand. And
And, yeah. And I guess they want us to make a decision as to who is supposed to win. Right? I guess that's really what it comes down to, I guess. I don't know.
well, I guess Adams assumed he was going to be reelected, which is now certainly questionable, and he wanted to have as much power as he could have. So that's
Right.
how I look at it.
Sure. Pretty simple. Hi, Scott. Did you want to weigh in? Sure.
Yeah,
I didn't see a raised hand because of it was hidden by the
It's hidden
background.
by his dollar,
by
his
the
dollar
C note.
bill.
That's
Yeah.
the cover of my book, by the way. I'm just seeing this for the first time, and it seems like it's only applying to land that's straddling more than one borough. Is that possible?
No,
No.
no,
No.
no.
It's
Nope.
anything. Okay.
It can be in a single borough.
That's okay.
No.
Good question.
If it straddles a borough, I mean, you're going to get another borough president.
Yeah,
There's just be another person in the room, but
just in the beginning of the recommendation, it seemed like it was only for land that was in more than one borough.
No.
Okay.
it's
No.
all based on if they don't like the decision, which is a little, again, like Sherry has been pointing out very eloquently all meeting and before, is it's a straight power play, right? It's just a small group to decide we don't like what these 51 people decided. Seemingly by numbers, right? I mean,
And you can see the importance of the city council members, because if you've been following the development of the Lenox Hill Hospital expansion, that the community board has disapproved, our resolution was not to approve it. Our city council member, Keith Powers, has not taken a position, so we don't know where it's going to come out. So we're waiting, as Ed talked about the blood center, but this is a huge project, and the community is definitely opposed to it. And it would be nice if Keith opposed it, but he hasn't, so we don't know. And the hearing is tomorrow. The city council hearing is tomorrow on that. So I know Valerie Mason, our board chair, is going to be testifying, as is others, giving reasons why they think this huge project is inappropriate from where they're putting it. But we'll see.
yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments? Otherwise, what we have to do is wait until what happens is that the Charter Change Commission, they finalize their questions, and then it's given to the, I don't know, Board of Elections, and then it's put on the ballot. The community board is not allowed to advocate for one position or another. All we can do is educate. So once the questions are released, we will have a meeting to, like we're doing now, try to explain what the implications are, because we have found in the past that sometimes the way the questions are put on the ballot have a slant to them and is not as objective as one would hope. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be having, once they're released, we'll be having another meeting. And I advise you to read, if you get any of the local things online about the Upper East Side. I would continue to follow those, and And as I said, and then you'll certainly see information about what the final question. Ed, I was just telling them what,
Yeah. Yeah.
going forward, and
Right.
if nobody else has any question, oh, what, is there a hand?
No, and I
Okay,
was just gonna
Jim.
say, yeah, no, and I was agreeing with you, Sherry. I'm sorry. I was just stepped away from
Yeah,
the
no,
desk.
no.
I heard you.
I was
Yeah.
wrapping up, but I see
Yeah,
that
no.
Jaron has a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, sorry. This is not related to the appeals board, but are there any other positions that we're taking on like specific aspects of the Charter Revision Commission? So, for example, like the
We're
modernizing the city map. We're going to take a
we
position
haven't
on that or not?
we didn't we haven't, but we can. I mean, I think Sherry, I was listening. Pardon me, I stepped away from my desk, but I could hear everything. Sherry's right. I mean, we're going to have a meeting in September and we have a meeting in October. We can't advocate, but that issue on the city map, we can certainly talk about it, Jaron, in September. I think we'll have clearer language about it.
Right.
And what Sherry was talking about, Michelle Birnbaum, one of our board members, that's one of Michelle's pet peeves about these commissions, as Sherry was saying. They write it in such a way, right, Sherry, as you were
Yeah,
saying?
that you can't,
Right.
we have to kind of explain
Right.
what they mean without the subjective slant to it. So, but
Which is
certainly
true.
the map sounds like an excellent idea because there's hundreds and hundreds of pages. Manhattan borough, when Gail Brewer was borough president, she said she did do the map over. So the Manhattan map is good, but in the other boroughs, they're just hundreds and hundreds of pages that if somebody needs to find something, they have to go through. So I would think that one will pass.
I mean, we can certainly put it, I mean, we have the dates set for September and October. Keep an eye out on the website for us, but maybe that's something, Sherry, we could talk about in September. Like you said, when we get a little clearer
Well,
language.
yeah, what
really happening.
the formal, I mean, we're just guessing now, so we'll
Right.
see what they vote on.
Right.
Okay.
John, you had your hand up again?
Or is he just saying yes? I think he
Oh,
would
he's
get
just
to
saying,
it.
yeah, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. My
Get that's
apologies.
a yes. All right, we really appreciate members of the public coming since none of our board members were interested enough to, I guess they've heard enough about this already.
They're all getting
They don't want to
excused
hear
absence.
anymore. And if you have, or the community board office is available if anybody has any other questions, or wait until we have our meeting in September and we'll try to answer them for you.
What's that
All
great
right.
song? What's that song, Sherry? See you in September?
Yes, see you in September. Right, it's
Is
talking
that-
about a summer romance. Yes, see you
Who
in
is that? Who sings that? Who does that?
I
Somebody,
don't
right?
know.
There's somebody who does that. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know.
I guess we have to self-adjourn since it's just you and me, Sherry.
Yes, we will. I will make a motion to adjourn and you can approve it.
I will
All right,
second it.
John, thanks so much for handling this. And really, we do really appreciate to know that the public actually cares about this. So
Please come to the
Okay.
meeting tomorrow. We have a full board meeting tomorrow in person if you are in the neighborhood at Marymount, right, John? Sherry, we're at Marymount tomorrow?
yeah, if you're
Yes,
interested in
yeah.
the community board, come stop by and see what we have to say. Wait, Spencer,
good.
yeah, what Spencer?
Wait, where exactly
At
is the
Marymount on
in-person part?
71st. It's on 71st.
71st Street, Merrimack College.
It's between 2nd and
71st.
3rd. At 6:30 is the public session, and then we should have a fairly brief, John, you've probably seen this agenda.
It's at Marymount College, 221 East 71st Street between 2nd and 3rd, and we'll be there in person.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Great.